All right, so I guess we'll get to some of these props for the big game instead of Taylor and Travis talk because we know Jenks is already
Oh my
exhausted with
God.
that. All right, so let's start with the quarterbacks. Of course, we have two big name quarterbacks dueling in the big game. Patrick Mahomes, his passing yardage set at 253.5. The one that seems crazy to me is Jalen Hurts passing yards prop. It's set at 213.5. This has gone up. It was 209 earlier in the week, and I think a lot of this depends on like where you get it. So that's a PSA. Shop around, make sure you get the best number because some of these have a big difference. So Jenks, would you rather take Patrick Mahomes over his passing yards or Jalen Hurts over his passing yards?
This sounds like a game you would buy at Spencer Gifts. Would you rather? Well, guys, I guess I'll take a shot before I answer this one. You got to go with Patrick Mahomes, right? Don't you? I mean, I know it's 253.5, but I just feel like, well, I don't know. Go back and forth here. It depends on how you think the game script is going to go. I think ultimately I would go with the over for Patrick Mahomes. I feel like Andy Reid will have some things scripted up for him. And also in a game that I happen to think is going to be a higher scoring game, then that would lend itself to Patrick Mahomes probably passing a few more times and getting over that number. Whereas if the Eagles can, I think they're going to have to open it up a little bit. They obviously want to lean on Saquon. So I guess Patrick Mahomes over his passing total, 253 and a hook. The problem is whenever you're talking about a Patrick Mahomes prop or a Travis Kelce prop, those are going to be massively popular. So you have to be very careful about the number.
I think for Patrick Mahomes, I think there is a chance that he throws it a lot because we've seen this with their offense, that it's almost similar to what Tom Brady used to do, to where it was like, okay, we're going to get a first down. We're going to get a first down, and it's going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's not an explosive offense.
Yeah.
So I think that's, what goes against maybe taking the over on his passing yardage prop is that the offense hasn't been that explosive. And this Eagles defense is really good. It's not a great matchup on paper for the passing offense going against this secondary of the Eagles, who's been greatly improved this season. So for me, I think I'd go the other way. I think I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here. We saw this last time around in the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts had to throw it a ton. And wouldn't that be the game plan if you could choose? And I understand in theory it's a lot easier than in practice. You want to stop Saquon Barkley. You want this Eagles team to have to beat you by the arm of Jalen Hurts. And I think, we've seen flashes of the passing game being good. And it doesn't even have to be good for him to go over this number. Like 213 is very low. I understand that he hasn't hit this in many games this year, but he also hasn't had to because Saquon's been running wild, and also the game script has been wildly different. So this is going to be a much different game script than facing the Commanders when the Eagles had a big early lead, facing the Rams, who just defensively are not the matchup and could not stop the run either. So I think maybe this is a spot where it's a buy low on Jalen Hurts and his passing yardage prop. So I think I'll go over there. Or if you want to play Patrick Mahomes, do his attempts as opposed to the yards.
Do it. Add that to your card. That doesn't really fit. Add that to your card.
Add that to your
card. I will say, now, me, I don't mind laying the juice if I like the number. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes, it's minus 165. I kind of feel like that's cheap comparatively. You don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to get 2 touchdowns in this game? I might be willing to lay. I know it's right there, but I'm surprised this isn't jacked up to like minus 185. Like it's right there on the line. But over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes, you got to feel like he's going to get a couple touchdowns in this game. With as much as I expect Andy Reid to game plan, I would take the over there, and I would lay the juice. I really would.
I don't think anybody's going to be shocked if Patrick Mahomes has at least 2 passing touchdowns. I think the sabotage factor for touchdown bets, as always, is somebody can vulture away your touchdown. And, somebody can just run it in. Because just because, you think, oh, they're going to have multiple touchdowns in this game, they could be running touchdowns. And Patrick Mahomes is actually a pretty good runner as well. So if this is on the goal line, there is a chance that Patrick Mahomes runs it in. There's a chance that Kareem Hunt runs it in. There's a chance we see an end around with Xavier Worthy or somebody, who runs it in. So that's always your sabotage factor. Like, do I see it happening? Probably. But those sometimes are not as easy as they look on paper. As for receiving props, obviously we have some big name receivers. Travis Kelce has been an absolute stalwart in the postseason for the Chiefs over the, career that he's had. 61.5 is the number for him. If you want to go Xavier Worthy, 56.5 is the number. How about A.J. Brown? Somebody who it feels like he's feast or famine. He's been reading up on his motivation. His number's set at 69.5. Nice. Or I've seen a lot of people on Dallas Goedert, the tight end for the Eagles. And it makes a lot of sense. If you look at the grid, the Chiefs all season long have been soft against tight ends. And Dallas Goedert, has been a primary candidate for a lot of passes from Jalen Hurts. And if you do think it's Jalen Hurts that has to go through the air, I think Dallas Goedert, if you do the power rankings for like receiver props, I think that's number one on the board for me.
I agree. This is the one bet. It's the only bet I've made thus far in the Super Bowl. I got it at 46.5 when it first opened up. Oof. It was my favorite bet. It's gone up crazy. But here's the thing. I think you can keep betting it and it can still hit. Look at what Dallas Goedert has done in 4 straight games. So 55 yards against the Giants, 47 against the Packers, 56 against the Rams, 85 yards against the Commanders. His usage has increased. Also, the Chiefs' defense, I believe, to opposing tight ends gives up around 70 yards per game. And also, when you look at the Eagles' offense, there's going to be so much focus on Saquon Barkley that I think we see plenty of passes to Goedert, little dump-offs or just across the middle. They've been utilizing him a lot, and there's a reason why this number keeps going up. So even though it's been inflated a little bit now, I still like the over there.
Yeah, it makes too much sense for somebody who the recent numbers are there and the matchup is there. So somebody who also Jalen Hurts has gravitated towards in third down situations. In big third downs, it's Dallas Goedert who's been getting a lot of those catches. So would not be shocked if he goes over his receiving prop, and get it now because it's only going to go up with some of these. Do you think there's another Eagles receiver that's worth looking at? Devonta Smith, I know, is from the area. Isn't he from New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken? And then A.J. Brown, we know he's going to throw a tantrum if he doesn't get his catches. Would you rather A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith?
I'd go A.J. Brown. I feel like that he's always an explosive play waiting to happen. I mean, so is Devonta Smith. But if you look at how Jalen Hurts has sort of graduated throughout the season, he's looking more towards A.J. Brown. So I'd go on the over when it comes to Brown.
Yeah, that or he's cracking open the book, whether we like it or not.